You are about to see mutilated corpses, burning tank carcasses, and all out mayhem brought to you by Frontline Fatalities.
Sup, COH fans, and welcome to episode 56 of Frontline Fatalities, brought to you by the Frontline Network, presented by me, FatalSaint, and my good friend Tommy. What's up, Tommy?
I've been reinstated to good friend status. Finally, Fatal. Damn.
Yeah.
We've been mortal enemies for the past 2 weeks. We've only finally gotten around to changing it.
Yeah, I know, right? I think you've actually been my good friend for a few episodes. I can't actually remember. Sometimes you're my good friend, and sometimes you're not really my good friend. But, you know, the show still gotta go on. The Fat Lady has not sung. Company of Heroes cast will continue for the foreseeable future since what, Tommy?
Well, obviously the foreseeable future just got a whole lot more narrow and Sega looking because Relic was purchased earlier today, according to our sources. Now everybody knows now that Sega bought Relic.
Yeah, and with it, most of the IPs, and you know, considering what the options were and the choices for who could purchase Relic, I guess Sega is not a bad deal. I think Sega
Yeah,
can do
to
well.
be honest, it was the best of a bad situation, really. The only other solution was probably that either Ubisoft would come in, which would not be so bad. I wouldn't mind personally if Ubisoft bought them because they made a lot of good games. Or it could have been someone like EA, in which case I would have shot myself. So
Yes.
we're glad that didn't happen.
Yes. Because some dodgy things could have happened, but who knows? Maybe Sega decides to do some dodgy things. Only the future will tell. But
That's true.
But the show has to go on, as we said, and we are back for another game from the recent Game Replays tournament number 27. And this time we have Inverse taking on the Americans against Barton, that will take on the Wehrmacht. And this is a round 4 game, so a best of 3. And you ready to go, Tommy?
I am ready.
And pause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So, anything specific that you know about these players? You know, we've had Inverse on. I think we'd have Barton on maybe once or twice also, but it was quite a while ago we had Barton on. And,
Yeah, we had him on for the Expert Insight, didn't we, with Seb? It was him versus DevM on this same map from the same positions, I believe.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was actually. Now I didn't say that. It was the exact same positions, and the only change is basically Inverse playing as the Americans instead.
Yeah, and what we see right away is Barton doing his coveted 3 pioneer strategy. He's really the only person I see that does this, at least recently. I know it was done by a few people. I know Seb himself actually did it a little bit when he was still playing at the beginning of 2011 and beginning of 2012 when he stopped playing. But Barton has pretty much always done it from the games I've seen recently, especially this patch. And he's gone for, this 3 pioneer opening. And he's put down wire very, very quickly in that really nasty point there in the middle, which makes capping the middle VP a real chore for the American.
Yeah, it does hinder your options, especially in the early game and the early mid game, whatever. When you have a lot of rifle play, and barbed wire can just be a major annoyance. And I guess Barton really loves wire, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. I mean, he just uses an awful lot of wire. That's why he goes for 3 pioneers, because I remember him saying when he released his first replay pack for this patch last year or so, he was saying the reason why he does 3 pioneers as an opening, or at least one of the reasons, is because he just wants to get down fucking wire everywhere. Because wire is kind of underused by some players. You see some players, some top Wehrmacht players, like Armstrong, for example, almost never uses wire, and if he does use wire, it's very, very sparse usage of it. And I don't know, it just seems interesting because obviously wire is a free resource, and it's something you can just break out as much of it as you like to cut off flanking routes and such.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you any resources whatsoever. It costs you a little bit of time, and obviously you have to pay attention when you lay down wire, as your pioneers will take increased damage if they get shot at while placing down defenses like wires, tank traps, and whatnot. So you gotta just be careful so you don't spam it in front of your opponent's units, because they'll just get minced in 2 seconds. But we do have a MG opening with a Schwim, so maybe Barton's gonna wire off the map and then just go for the pin. I don't know what his thought is with
He
this.
does seem to be focusing quite centrally here. He's got the plus 16, hasn't really attempted to cap any fuel yet, only just now moving up into the top left with that Schwim and Pioneer combo, which is probably going to force off this engineer and allow him to grab that fuel.
And there's nothing else from Inverse on the left-hand side of the map right now. It's just that one engineer squad. He sent his rifles, his second rifleman squad, to the far right-hand side, and the rifleman squad that was forced to retreat. I can also see them moving on my minimap. But Inverse is not going to give up that easily. He's going to hop in the building, which is going to increase the time before he is forced to retreat away from that Schwim and Pio. But at the same time, Barton's just going to let him sit there and stew and take the fuel off him.
Yeah, it's kind of taken the Shroom out of the fight there a little bit, which means that in the middle, it's just a single MG now against this single green cover rifle. There is another MG moving up, but it's an interesting opening here from Barton, very heavy on the support weapons. And it's very good for denying manpower drain from the US player, because he's only just now gotten a single kill, but with no Volks to shoot at, there's no kind of collateral. It's just, you know, the hard infantry counter of the MG.
Yeah,
but here
with the
comes
Schwim in the mix.
This rifle managed to sneak down, but it's going to get shot at. Negative cover here.
Oh wow, he's taking a lot of damage from that MG burst due to being pushed into the negative cover by the Schwimmwagen. But a third rifle joins the fray, and the MGs are desperately trying to set up.
Grenade. There's 2 nades there, very nicely positioned on the 2 MGs, and it takes out one of the
wow.
MGs there.
That was brilliant, like utter ownage from Inverse there. And you know, the timing of those grenades were basically that same second that he executed that attack with the 3 rifles, the nade tech popped, and he kills the Schwim on retreat. So a whole MG and a Schwim, 2 tier 1 units down from Barton instantly off the bat after going 3 rifle nades from Inverse. That was impressive. I like that play.
Yeah, that was nice stuff there. Those really nasty grenades and a very quick retreat there from Inverse. Decided to exit out of that battle with the Volks. He took away his ability to cap the map in exchange for making that really powerful mid attack, but it really did pay off there. Although Barton still probably has, you know, he's still got a good chunk of the map there. He's still got a lot of munitions, and he's still got the plus 10 fuel. It did allow Inverse to really get those important kills there. And killing the MG is just so crucial. He knows now that there's only a single MG on the field right now, which is going to be really important for Inverse to know as he comes into a second flank.
Yeah, he's gearing up. He's got rifles on the right-hand side of the map, on the left-hand side of the map at a 60 munitions point. He also got one in the back in the base, the third rifle there. He's gonna hop in the building on the right-hand side to get some extended line of sight. Sees nothing special. Exits the house. He's most likely gonna move down against these Pios, maybe, just to go take a quick peek at what's going on over here.
Now, this is an interesting choice by Barton. He built himself 2 Volks now, along with the single MG and the original 3 Pioneers, and already he has begun Tier 2 tech. Skirmish phase is being teched right now, so he is choosing not to rebuild his Tier 1. He is choosing not to rebuild either the Shrim or the second MG, which is a really interesting decision. He must be anticipating some kind of really quick tech here from Inverse, and just trying to play it really safe. The downside of doing this is, of course, that he might get overwhelmed if we see bars or more infantry play in the form of snipers.
Yeah, Inverse put on a triage and is now building his supply yard, so he might be going for that M8. So taking to tier 2 and building it to get that pack out might be crucial for Barton to stay in this game, you know, more than 10 minutes. It's already been 6-7 minutes into the game, and he's already lost 2 tier 1 units compared to Inverse 0. I don't even think Inverse lost his 2 original engineers. Nope, both of them are still alive and kicking.
Oh, some
Nice mines.
nasty mines. Yeah, one rifle smacks into one, and he could
might
be in
crawl
for a
into
world
one,
of
which
trouble.
is wow, he's like stepping right on top of it almost, but he manages to dodge it again. What's up with all these nade or mine dodging from rifles lately? I think the last replay
Yeah,
we
saw
did
it
was the
last
same
episode
thing.
as well, didn't we? Oh, but he didn't dodge that one.
No.
Look how low health that rifle is. If he just got focused by both Volks, but the Volks, there just aren't enough tier 1 units to hold off this 4-way flank. A beautifully executed flank there by Inverse. He chooses to cancel one of those grenades as the MG was packing up to move away. Very nice stuff there. But both Volks there, totally outgunned. It's a full retreat here from Barton. He's lost the entire the left-hand side of the map now. Really, just that first engagement just totally swung things in Inverse's favor. And we now see the triage coming up as well, following up the supply yard. And a half-track is the next unit out from Barton. Probably not a bad idea at all. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see lots of Grens coming out after this. He really needs to rebuild his infantry. But the half-track is going to be really useful against those kind of grenades and keeping the rifles away with a bit of pushing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess Inverse wants to deliver some payback to Barton. He went infantry and is now planting mines with the 2 remaining rifles that were in the center of the map. Before capping, he put down some mines instead, very defensively put in the middle of the map. He doesn't want Barton to move up too quickly and try for some form of a base pin on him, probably. So, you know, he's gonna pay back a few of those mines explosions. Oh, something died somewhere.
Unit has died, in fact.
Yeah, but
Unit has
where?
died in battle. Oh, it was a Pioneer trying to cap the fuel on the left-hand side, but there's 2 mines protecting that fuel over there, and a mine protecting the munitions.
Wow,
That
everywhere.
other Pioneer could go down, which could be really nasty. That
Here
won't
comes the
even leave him
rifles.
with anything to... Oh, wow. That's 2 Pioneers down now as well. Barton is just left with this one really low health Pioneer, which he's probably going to be forced to garrison. And he's now getting a pack as well. It's a horrible mistech there.
Hopefully he will
honestly,
cancel that pack, because as we can see, Inverse went bars and he's also taking stickies. So he's actually gone for all 3 rifleman upgrades.
Oh, he just cancelled it in the nick of time. Literally at the last
good.
possible second.
Good.
He cancelled it as he saw those bars and got himself the Gren.
He still might have a fighting chance now if he gets, Grens for example, and maybe starts piling on the veteran C or uses as half-track for more than just pushing and stuff. But I guess he doesn't have a Pio to put it in anymore.
Well, he does, but it's out there building the Camcraft Center because he desperately needs veterancy as well if he's going to keep, if he's going to sort of maintain parity with these fully upgraded rifles now, bars, nades, and stickies.
Motor pool was completed in Inverse's space. I can see on the left-hand side, just as the sticky bombs were researched as well. We did have some sweepers coming in against the Volks on the 16 munitions, as these bar rifles are getting pushed around by that MG. Another, or the half-track, another sticky goes in on it. Here comes another bar squad, but there's a Gren squad out now from Barton as well. He's going to be able to maybe fend off these rifles. He forces one of them to retreat.
A lot of damage there. What's the cooldown on the sticky for that other rifle squad?
Good question. I think the cooldown is down because he's chasing that half-track. He's trying to
struggling
reach
to
for it.
get it off.
He's got,
He's
there we go,
lowering it into
35
the base
munitions.
MG.
35 munitions in the bank. He could be able to throw it now, but he's not doing it. He's got plenty of munitions already. Why are you not sticking him?
Because he's still at the cooldown from the original rifle, I think. But there we go.
Cooldown
He does
can't
get
be
the last
that long.
sticky off. And
Yeah, there it
out
goes.
of control.
Crashes into the bush and explodes.
Barton is left with virtually no map at this point. Still has the 2 original Volks, but it's not saying a whole lot. His army is precisely 5 units. One of them is a very wounded Pioneer. He is now building himself a pack, which is actually a good idea because there's now an M8 on the field.
Yeah, there's an M8 on the field, so at least Barton is trying to hang on by his teeth, because it's not looking so bright for him right now. But considering everything, there's always the chance of a comeback, and anything can happen, really. He just needs to get lucky in a few engagements.
That's the thing with Langara and Wehrmacht. It's so easy for Wehr to advance out of his base. Even when he's practically in a base pin scenario, as he is right here, there's still always opportunities for Barton to advance, and still opportunities for him to maintain a decent munitions income. And as long as he can maintain a decent munitions income, the fact that he's lost virtually all fuel doesn't really matter too much.
And something just exploded. Was that an M8? Seriously? The M8 is dead. Where is it?
What?
Oh yeah, it exploded at the strategic point on the left-hand side of the map.
Oh, wow.
Barton placed a mine there like ages ago.
Wow. Wow, that is just the kind of break that he so desperately needed to get back into this game.
You know, lucky and all, but at the same time, now Barton has a pack that's completely useless again. So, but you know, he killed the M8, so I guess it's, you know, tit for tat, they just traded it there.
Oh, wow, but there's a nice bar flank on those Gren and Volk there. There's just, he really needs Vet 2 on these Grens badly to try and maintain parity with these rifles, but he just doesn't have the fuel for it right now. He's just a +10 income. He's a long way away from getting that 50 fuel.
Yeah, he doesn't even have any munitions to the right-hand side of his base right now, so his income can't be that impressive. Compared to Inverse's income, which is starting to become even more impressive as time goes on here. He's got a 59 munitions income and a 43 fuel income. It's going so rapidly, it looks like someone's hacking the game or something on my screen. Here comes the rifles again. One of them, Vet 1, the first attacking rifle, forces the MG off, cancels the bunker, retreats back to base. The Grens and the Volt squads leave the base. Nice Gren grenade at the green cover rifles. Did a load of damage and pushed them out of directional cover, but nothing more than that. At the same time, with the only Vet 1, these barred rifles are still very potent against the German infantry.
Oh, very potent indeed, especially when they're only Vet 1, but they are managing to force off these rifles, I think. I sort of feel like Inverse is kind of making flanks for the sake of making flanks at this point. He can pretty much just camp buildings when his opponent has no sniper. He can literally just sit in buildings for the rest of the game, and he will outlast. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah, and there's another mine in front of the other door. There's a mine at the 60 munitions. There's suddenly mines everywhere. So, you know, Barton started off with planting mines all over the place and just punishing these rifles from Inverse over and over again. But now the tables have turned.
Wow.
2 guys died in the house there, and 2 Grens died from that mine explosion. That's not good. It's not only costing Barton manpower, it's costing him a lot of time. He needs to go back out onto the field, especially get that fuel on the left or right hand side, and he seems to be focusing on the left hand side of the map right now. But all these mines are just gonna stall him forever. Oh, he retreats into a mine as well, loses a Gren, but he's down to 1 man. Nice grenade on the door. Here comes the stew. When did he shoot splits?
He did shoot splits just a couple of minutes ago. He got Stormtroopers unlocked. I was wondering if he was going to get some, but he chose to go for the ace in the hole, Le Stew, which is probably not a bad idea. Technically, if he base rushed Inverse right now, he could kill the motor pool. But the problem is that he's already facing stickies at this point, so he doesn't have the surprise KO that he could have done, involving, you know, just a stew in the base, kill the barracks, kill the motor pool, and there's no more AT.
Inverse opted to go for an on-map, which is now firing at the 60 munitions. First shot... What? Where is he shooting? Oh, it's the stew shooting. He's shooting in the base. I thought it was the artillery shooting at where the stew was at the 60 munition, but that was the stew firing at the ground.
Oh, right.
He saw mines getting placed. They were both cancelled, however, so there's nothing there. But he's still shooting at the ground there. I'm not sure what he was targeting, just like the MG and things exiting the base, or was he deliberately trying to kill the campcraft center to deny veterancy?
I'm
not sure.
Because that would be just a horrible, horrible waste of a barrage. I'm questioning the idea of getting the Howie in the first place, honestly. The Howie is good when you're facing a really campy player with lots of support weapons. It's not so great when your opponent is relying on lots and lots of Grens and Volks. Barton only has a single MG, and he has a worthless pack. So I don't know, I would almost just... You could almost get more rifles in this instance. You could just get more fucking rifles and just flank the fuck out of him.
You need something against that stew, because Sticky's just not cutting it. He almost annihilated one of the Vet 2 squads from Inverse with 1 shot. He was 4 men, I think, killed 3 guys in 1 shot, drops a bar, and then forced to retreat. And Inverse went for a supply yard upgrade just a few minutes ago as well. So his veterans is going to start rolling in, especially if Barton will never afford the Vet 2 infantry, because then the barred rifles is going to be able to kill all these Grens and the Volks quite easily.
Yeah, the campcraft center did actually go down, and oh my god, a whole Gren squad gets annihilated.
Wow. And the MG as well! Bullseye artillery from Inverse, just pounding Barton into the ground here. I'm not even sure what Barton can do at this point. What would you do in this point if you're playing Longres, Wehrmacht, and just slowly and steadily advance and try just, I don't know, just to gather yourself together and then maybe go for a center and just defend.
It's an impossible situation, really. I mean, he can quite easily sit on that bottom VP, and you know, he can keep the drain in check with just camping that area. And he can just play the left-hand side of Longer like he's doing. You know, this is the safe way to play Longer if you're Bear. Lots of Bear players will take the right, go for a very aggressive base pin. But it's harder. It's easier to take the left-hand side, no matter what the stage is of the game, because you've got that plus 16 munitions, you've got all the munitions immediately around your base, and you have the fuel, all in very close proximity. And it's all very, very difficult to flank because it's also close to the base and very easily mined and wired off. So that's pretty much Barton is doing what he needs to do at this point. He is getting himself another Grenadier. He does actually have the fuel to get himself Vet 2. That should be his next purchase, really. Any more Grenadiers after this will just bleed more manpower than it helps him, really.
Yeah, right now he's trying to hold on to the left-hand side and he's doing quite all right. It's not, you know, the most terrible situation for him, but at the same time he is feeding a lot of veterancy to these rifles and he will continue to do so until he gets Vet 2 for his Grenadiers. He's got, I think Inverse now has 3 Vet 2 squads. He does. Wow. He got the second supply yard upgrade just a few seconds ago.
The base is taking a pounding.
There's artillery all over the place. That's in the base over and over again.
Nice Grand Grenade on these Vet 2 rifles. Does a lot of damage. Forces the rifles to retreat. There's a nice win there, but there's just so many Vet 2 rifles now. The inverted rifles stacking up the veterancy all over the shop.
A pack was found out by the rifles now. I'm not even sure if Inverse ever knew it was there because it's not done anything.
Oh wow, did you see those rifles chucking themselves under the treads? Stupid rifles. There's another nice grenade there, and wow, oh wow, the Vet 2 rifle actually goes down.
Minor victory.
This is what I mean by kind of flanking for the sake of flanking. It's like, you know, he doesn't need to keep on making these big attacks because otherwise that kind of thing is going to happen. As it is, he's put himself in such a great position from a great early game anyway. But you know, his opponent has no fuel, so you really have to ask yourself in this situation as the American player, why am I flanking again? Because if it's just to kill shit, then you can do the same thing without actually having to send anything in really deep. And as is a Stu right now, and he has no real AT, I mean, he just got this single AT gun, but he could have just waited for that.
Yeah, he could have just probably waited, because he had Barton contained just outside of his base. Just let him have the few territories that he has, and, you know, do more combined or you know, just, you know, better grouped up rifle attacks together, so that they don't get singled out if you do a flank and, you know, one goes in too deep and then gets focus fired by 2 Gren squads and a Vol squad, because they do go down very, very rapidly.
Yeah, like these rifles down here, these Vet 2 rifles, to try to take on 2 Grenadiers, they're tough, but they're not that tough.
Yeah,
and they did actually get forced to retreat there. There's more artillery coming in.
It's in the base.
Again, into the base, yep, hoping to catch some retreating units off guard. Actually, a couple of units did just retreat, so it could be rather nasty.
This could be extremely nasty if these Volks and Grens get hit by a stray shot.
No.
Right now it looks okay. Was that 5? Where's the 6th
5.
shell? Oh. There's one more somewhere. Yeah, it creaks barracks twice. Could have been much, much worse for Barton there, as he retreated units while his base was
yeah, it
under
could have been
artillery
much
fire.
worse. Oh wow, look at these Grens getting focus fired as they retreat there. Could be some very quick Vet 3
So low
rifles.
health, there he goes. Another Gren down for Barton. Or was that the first Gren? He's only lost bolts, I think.
There's a lot of units, you know, getting... You know, it's just a lot of manpower getting drained from Inverse now. He's kind of running into this big meat grinder. Because it is so easy to defend flanks at this point in the mid-game for the Bear player in this position. It's because there's really only 1 or 2 different ways that the US can really come from, especially with all this wire down. He can come through the gap in the hedge, and he can come from the frontal area by the strategic cutoff point on the right, and that's basically the 2 main ways to get in.
Yeah, he can't really come from the further right, because he'll have to go through the German base, which is not possible due to the MG bunkers. So he's not just going to be able to come from, as you said, maybe like 2 directions. It's very easy to defend against. Even though Barton lost his MG, he still has the OP wagon, the Stu, which is just like...
yeah, which is a heck of a,
I just one-hit your rifle squad
in itself.
yeah.
Indeed.
And there's...
And here's a sniper out from Barton, which is actually a nice bit of meta-teching there by him. That was chosen as he saw the AT gun. That's going to counter the AT gun quite nicely.
Look at these poor Volks. They're trying to hold on against 2 barred rifle, forces 1 to retreat. The Stew was sticking again, but just as before, the AT gun can't really follow up that reliably, and there's that sniper now on the field, which is always a problem when you have AT guns. Because it's going to be a prime target.
2 snipers, in fact.
2 snipers,
sniper
wow.
building. But Vet 2 is absolutely needed at this point. It's just, I can't understand why Barton is delaying so much. He has these 2 Grens, which are bleeding a heck of a lot of manpower when they're facing Vet 2 rifles. And that sniper nearly
Stu almost killed his own sniper. That was lucky. He could have died there, potentially.
Wow. He did
Nice.
take out one of his own Grens. And
Yeah,
another bar
they did.
dropped.
Who picked up the first bar?
The rifles got it. I think the
rifles got
sniper's trying to grab the other bar. He's like, I want to play with this.
Oh
Always
my God.
stuck with the
Semi-automatic
car-
sniper
car
fire.
98.
Yeah.
Here's the second sniper now. He is now out into the field, and Barton is beginning to expand onto the right as well, which is probably going to make Inverse feel just a little bit pressured, because he has lost quite a lot of manpower just recently, and he is forced into another big retreat there on the left-hand side, allowing Barton to move in and take the field down on the left. So Barton is actually kind of stabilizing at this point.
He's got the field on the right-hand side as well.
He's getting bigger. He has double snipers now with... there is actually a weapon support center out from Inverse. What's the status on snipers?
Nothing building so far. He is floating the manpower to start building a sniper. I do believe he's at 340 right now. Let's see if he starts building a sniper anytime soon. 350, 360. Nothing yet. I think Inverse might be busy doing and microing other things on the map. Here's the sniper queue. So yeah, he's going to get that counter snipe in on Barton, which will be extremely helpful. But with 2 enemy snipers on the field, which he now
yeah, no
realizes.
recruit for you, Rifles.
Yeah, no recruit on that AT gun.
Nice use of attack move there on the AT gun to get rid of it.
Might be already on the... No. Yeah, already on the snipers, but both of them instantly retreated as Barton heard the howitzers shooting in the fog of war. It's gotta be on my snipers. Retreat!
Hey, didn't you hear? Best counter to snipers.
Indirect fire,
artillery.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Artillery and indirect fire always works. If it's not the mortars, it's
Inverse
the
playing
howitzers.
a dangerous game here, trying to recrew under stew fire when that AT gun is surely only 1 shell away from just getting destroyed outright.
Turns around, gets the sticky on, gets 1 nice frontal penetration from the AT gun, and the sticky goes in and immobilizes the Stew in the first sticky after taking some damage from the AT gun. He needs to follow up with the AT gun now, but that wire might be in the way. I'm not sure if it's going to be in range. At the same time, rifles and engineers on the right-hand side against the second Stew, Volks and Grens, and now the ally sniper on the field, and there goes the Stew. 2... Was that a sticky? Because the AT gun didn't get a kill.
It must have been a sticky, yeah. That rifle could be Vet 3 at this point.
Yeah, he just... If he got the Stew kill as well and already on Vet 2, which I presume he was, he can't be that far away. But the AT gun gets decrewed by the double snipers in the strong building at the 60 munitions on the left-hand side before being able to get out of there. As all of his backup retreated. Yeah, there's nothing there except for the ally sniper now looking for some Axis counter-sniping.
The sad thing is, when you're an ally sniper trying to counter-snipe 2 Axis snipers, is that if the Axis snipers are as they are right now and they're literally just being blobbed and moved around on attack move, what can happen is that you counter-snipe one of them and the other sniper immediately on attack move counter-snipes you in turn, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's harder than you might think to deal with double axis snipers, except of course with artillery, which is what's being used right now.
I was very close to hitting one of the snipers there, but they were doing a little bit of a dance and they actually managed to dodge all of the shells. It seems they're gonna be able to get out completely unharmed from that artillery barrage. It was fairly close, however, was a few of the shells. What is that? The Stew shooting? The Stew is very confusing. It sounds like a howitzer or an off-map, but it's a Stew. The allied counter-snipe never went in on the left-hand side. I'm not exactly
it did.
sure.
He used attack move at the right time, but he was just a little half second too slow.
They recloaked. But here comes
Yeah,
the Vet
he
2
shot a
barred
grenadier
rifles
instead.
now. Forces the sniper to retreat. Might be able to polish off the damage one with a little bit of focus firing from the bars. He does not get that burst in on the retreating sniper, however. Now the Allied sniper opens up on the Grens as he knows he's free to do so, as both of the German snipers retreated. And Vet 3. Tasty Vet 3 on these rifles.
Don't lose me, Mus. Retreat.
On the way! Oh, down to one man under
wow.
fire from 2 Grens. But he's surely gonna be fine. He has plenty of health, that one guy.
Barton is actually taking back quite a scary amount of the map, considering how behind he was just 20 minutes ago.
I'm not exactly sure what can happen now. Inverse might need to get... I don't know what he needs to get against the stew there.
Oh boy, Allied sniper got forced to retreat. Oh my god!
Oh, that was a bullseye artillery shot. Kills the Gren with the stolen bar instantly in the first shell. He was going after the sniper. He paid for it with his life and didn't even get to shoot the sniper. At the same time, I think on-map firing at all of the infantry from Barton outside of his base with the 2 snipers. The snipers manages to dodge. I think the Grens lost 3 men in their squad due to that on-map artillery barrage.
Oh wow! Inverse, he saw where a Goliath had cloaked in the bushes
He was
and tried
gonna
to grenade it.
throw a nade on it. I saw the animation, but the stew...
This dude killed the guy as he reached for it.
yeah,
Trying to unclip it from his belt, and
that didn't work.
no. Oh wow, those 2 snipers got really up shit creek here.
They're a little bit too close. He's trying to focus fire, I think. There goes the very damaged sniper, goes down on retreat to the unvetted barred rifle squad from Inverse. So now it's 1 sniper against 1. And now the counter sniping is even more crucial for both players.
Yeah, things just got a little bit more fair in the sniper, counter-sniper department.
Because
But
technically Inverse could just roll up into the allied base and just kill the howitzer or whatever the hell he feels like, because the only thing Inverse has is sticky bombs.
well, the problem is
no AT
he
guns
would almost
anymore.
certainly lose it en route to the Howie. Honestly, he would
Might.
get sticky, you know, once or twice. By the time he gets sticky for the second time, probably gonna get an immobilization or something like that.
See if this Goliath is gonna take
Oh,
a chance at
oh,
annihilating
oh,
a rifle
oh,
squad
oh.
from Inverse. He finds
Wow, he was
instant
too
retreat.
slow. He could have taken
could
out
have
that
blown
whole
him
squad
up.
there.
Yeah, he could have blown him up easy. Whoa, on map on the Volks and the sniper on the left hand side. Pack gun is still there, uncrewed from either side. Inverse could nick the pack that Barton got decrewed.
And he might need it soon, because although he can fend off stews with stickies, he cannot fend off a tiger with the same. And
Oh, God.
a tiger is what is on the cards to come out next.
No, he loses a rifle to the stew, drops the bar. He almost killed the Volt
Oh,
squad.
that's
He had a
sad.
nice grenade on them, but it was just not enough to polish him off, and he was too slow on the retreat. He was chasing the sniper on the left hand side, and he dies finally. Did he get counter sniped?
Yes, he did. Or he just died at least. I don't know if he got counter sniped. There's another nice grenade.
I can hear that sneaky Goliath moving around. We
It is.
did have...
Oh, Terror's engine. Oh dear.
Oh,
That's
down
going to be a
shell.
waste.
One more. There it goes. Gets destroyed, but I've had 2 rifles.
Oh
They've
wow,
got
is
3
this
rifles.
OMCG? This is
OMCG.
OMCG
Yeah.
in the field to polish things off. Wow, did you see the damage on that thing? Vent free sticky.
Yeah, Vet 3 sticky is insane. Barton calls GG after seeing that Hellcat. He has no proper counter to it. He could desperately go out and recrew his pack, but you know, without the infantry support to fend off all of these barred rifles, because Inverse got 2 new bar rifles. So even if Barton managed to kill one with the stew and the Volks, he still got 2 new ones from the OMCG, and that would have been enough to just completely overrun the Axis infantry because they never hit that precious Vet 2.
Yeah, he never rebuilt his Campcross Center after it got destroyed, and I really think that might have helped him. Because the snipers came out fairly late from Inverse's side of things, and it would have just been 300 manpower. He had the fuel for it. It wasn't using up any fuel. He was just building stews, fuel free. So yeah, I think the Vet 2 really would have helped. When you're facing bars and grenades that early, it's just you need to maintain parity with the rifles or tech really quick, and
he couldn't tech due to the fuel.
He couldn't take due to the fuel, so Veteran C was the only way to go, really. But yeah, I mean, getting that first couple of squad wipes in the early game was just great stuff.
Yeah, but Barton had a very good attempt, I think, at regaining a lot of the map. And as you said, if you just sit on the left-hand side of the map there at the 16 munitions, and then eventually push off your opponent and cause him a lot of manpower damage, and then just branch out over the map, because all of a sudden he had like 65% of the map, and then it went back again.
Yeah, it was just crazy. I think in the game it almost gone on for longer if VPs weren't a factor. Perhaps Barton could have won eventually. I use the word eventually fairly loosely, because he was beginning to kind of whittle away Inverse, because he kept on making these big flanks for the sake of flanks. And lots of rifles were dying. He was getting lots of kills, but he was losing whole squads as well, which isn't really worth it.
No, I don't think so. Both players played very well, and that initial grenade attack from Inverse was extremely impressive. I always like to see that, a proper Korean army style, I think.
Oh yeah, it was great stuff. The timing on the grenades came very, very nice.
Yeah, it was basically, he committed to that attack, and he knew that the grenade tech was almost done, and literally the same second as it upgraded that the grenades were teched, he started throwing at the two MGs, and annihilated one completely unrecruitable and forced the other one to retreat with one man. It was very impressive, and all of a sudden Barton had no field presence whatsoever. Everything was back in base, and that was only after 3 rifles and grenades, and it doesn't take a metric ton of time to get 3 rifles on the field. Only takes you a few minutes.
No, it doesn't.
Very, very good game. Well played from both players, and this was from the recent game replays tournament 27. So which we live casted on Saturday the 19th. So if you missed that, just check a few videos back, and you can see all of those games there. We actually have one game between Sadland and Korean Army, and then also the finals between Aimstrong and Tommy. Yeah. So don't forget to subscribe, comment, and thumbs up, and we'll see you guys for the next episode.
See you guys.